Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to Remember 11. We're still not done yet, so let's just carry on where we left off. We are back in SPHIA, and I don't even know if Yuni's still alive, but I guess we'll find out. Oh wait, we do know he's alive because he just peeked in on us, but I don't know how he's still alive. Did we sew him up? Did someone sew him up? He doesn't seem to trust anyone. Also, our hand is sort of damaged, and we've been poisoned, and, you know, Hattori's been murdering, and there's a dead guy in the basement. And Tsumi's a bit of a psycho too, it seems, but you know. Anyway, it's bad. It's bad news. But even so, I pushed my arms and legs and moved to chase after him. That's Yuni, by the way. Yuni rushed into his own room. I followed after him. Entering the room, I saw Yuni's frightened eyes staring back at me. Don't come near me. What's wrong? What are you afraid of? As I neared him, Yuni pulled himself back as if trying to get away. You don't have to run away. Don't be afraid, it's me. Uyukawa Kokoro. Yuni shook his head almost hard enough to make a sound. No, that's wrong. Satoru's just sick. So, Yuni retreated even further, his face distorted in fear. Look out! Huh? As he was walking backwards, Yuni's foot bumped against the table. With that, he tumbled to the floor. By chance, Yuni's forehead struck the edge of the bed as he fell. Yuni! Panicking, I rushed over to him and helped him sit up. Yuni pressed his hands against his forehead. It hurts, it hurts! You alright? Let me have a look. Pushing back his hair, I saw that Yuni's forehead had a new injury, probably due to the shock of the collision. Yuni's bandage had peeled off and dropped to the floor. This is probably the one applied to the cut Hattori had given him the other day. I thought that it had bled quite a lot at the time, but the cut itself was actually shallow. Tears were forming in Yuni's large eyes. Hey, you're a boy, right? Don't cry. Jeez, there's no other choice then. I gave Yuni's forehead a small kiss. Pain, pain, fly away to Andromeda. I saw Yuni's eyes widen in surprise. My mother often did this for me, you know. A mysterious charm that makes you forget all about the pain in one blow. I embraced Yuni's thin body closely. I buried my face in his hair. It's okay. There's nothing to worry about. However, I was thrust away by Yuni. He did it much more forcefully than I expected. Stop it. Don't touch me. Yuni shouted and then turned and ran away. There had been pure terror in his face. Yuni? I was left alone in the room. Even though the room wasn't very wide, it felt extraordinarily vast to me. Why did he run away? Was it because he felt grossed out at his forehead being kissed while I looked like Satoru? Or was it... It's okay. There's nothing to worry about. These were the words I was wishing for. The words I wanted to hear said to me. There was no one to say those words to me, so I used them myself on Yuni. Under the guise of worrying about Yuni, I may have only been thinking of myself. Maybe being sensitive, Yuni was able to see through my heart. I don't know. I don't know anything. The only thing I did know was that the remaining warmth left by Yuni felt extremely lonely. Even so, I decided to run after Yuni, because losing Yuni would be too unbearably sorrowful for me. Yuni went in the direction of Hattori's room. I began to chase after Yuni. False accusation? Interesting. The cold wrapped around me. This was no mere cold. I'm outside again. It was so painful that my entire body jarred. Humans begin to feel pain if they're exposed to the elements for too long. Too used to the heating at SPHIA, my unprepared body shuddered as if suddenly pulled back into reality. Well, that much was to be expected, because I was standing in front of the cabin. I've been dropped right in the middle of a violent snowstorm. At this rate, I'll freeze to death. Was Satoru trying to kill me? Panicking, I opened the door and ran into the cabin. The situation here didn't seem to have changed. I quietly stared at my hand, which prickled with pain. My fingertips were numb and had turned stark white, having lost the colouring that blood would provide. I tried blowing on them. That had hardly any effect at all. My entire body felt heavy. I didn't have the energy to talk either. At this rate, I probably won't even make it through the rest of the day. I covered my entire body with a blanket. However, even the blanket had already become cold. It had gotten so cold that my lungs hurt when I breathed in. It's hard to believe this is indoors. Everyone was sitting apart from each other, wrapped up in blankets. Everyone was shivering so hard it seemed their teeth might fall out. Not a single word was spoken. With hollow eyes, they shivered as if going into convulsions. Without a doubt, we were approaching our limits. It felt like the god of death, known as cold, was sucking up all of our life. No, it may not have been just the cold. Mayuzumi's actions had thrown a dark shadow over all of us. Thanks to her, our food supply was nearly gone. Moreover, what she had done had thrown into sharp relief the face that we weren't really united. Gathering our rations together was supposed to unify us, but all it did was trigger Mayuzumi's rampage. Just like the snow beating against the window, we continued to play out this dissonance. I want to help to hurry up and come. I thought that from the bottom of my heart, but we've already taken refuge in this cabin for 5 days. There's been no sign that a search party was coming around. And this snowstorm, help probably won't come today either. There's no guarantee that it'll clear up by tomorrow, and there are no grounds to believe that help will come tomorrow even if it did. All of my thoughts were turning negative. Maybe the entire world has forgotten about us. Maybe no one even noticed that the plane had crashed. Even though that shouldn't be, I inadvertently think it, and my chest is gripped with anxiety. Feeling overcome with uneasiness, I save. Cool, Uni. I couldn't stand sitting alone. Hey, Uni. I call over to Uni, who was sitting apart from me. Want to sit together? He gave me a small nod and came over to my bed. I open up space on my bed for Uni. Surely if we all huddle up, that will keep us warm, right? I open up my blanket as though to invite him in. Uni and I piled our 2 blankets up together as we both cover ourselves with them. And then Uni whispered while blushing, "Hey, I'm kind of hungry." Having not eaten anything at all, I was famished too. That's right. My speech is slurred. Me too. Do you want some water? I took the PET bottle out from under my own blanket. The water was extremely cold, but it's barely managed not to freeze. My water's all frozen. Can I have a little of yours? Okay. That said, there was only about a mouthful of water left in my bottle. Uni took the bottle with a shaking hand. There's only this much. I'll give it all to you. Is it okay? I nodded, and a weak smile floated across Uni's face. Thank you. He was probably really thirsty because the air was so dry. He drank the water with loud gulps. People say that you can live for 1 week on water alone. However, even our water had been lost. There was plenty of snow outside. However, if we put it in our mouths, it'll snatch away our body heat and lead right to death. It's like a person who's unable to drink seawater and dies of thirst while floating on a raft drifting at sea. Uni laughed, but only with his mouth. His eyes weren't laughing at all. Tears were filling his eyes. It's delicious, thank you. But I'm sorry. You don't have to worry about it. I'll try my best to melt my water. Then I'll give it back to you, Kokoro. Don't push yourself. If you hug a frozen PET bottle to make it warm, you'll die of the cold. I'll be careful, but I'll do my best. If it's for Kokoro, then I can endure a little cold. Uni. I love the sweetness of Uni so much it was almost unbearable. I slowly reached for Uni's glasses. Don't do that. Why? Think about my body too. That's extremely painful. You can endure it if it's for me, right? This and that are different. Jeez. Without any other alternative, I settled for grasping Uni's small hand instead. Huh? There's something gripped in his cold hand. It was a charm. I wonder where it came from. Nice, huh? It's protecting me. Perhaps trying to cheer me up, Uni forced a smile. However, his smile seemed cramped by the cold. In that case, let's both make a wish to God. Okay. We gripped the charm together, closed our eyes and prayed. It was a prayer to God without any foundation, but the mere existence of this charm acted as a support to us. Hey, what did you wish for? To somehow let everyone return safely. How about you, Uni? Uni hid his face. With hollow eyes, a fleeting smile across his face. I wish that I could always be with Kokoro. I couldn't hold it back anymore. Is that why we keep doing the body swap? His wish came true. And that's why we're forced into the other body, just so we can be with Uni forever. I couldn't hold it back anymore. Uni. Stop it, it hurts. It hurts, Kokoro. Hug. I give. It was nothing more than an empty show of spirit. However, I acted as if I were in high spirits as always, so that Uni might even be a little more energetic. Uni had encouraged me with a sweet kindness. Releasing himself, Uni looked a bit fed up as he took a deep breath. I softly embraced his shaking shoulders. Uni seemed to have calmed down as he surrendered his body to me. We stayed with one another, rolled up in the blanket, gripping each other's hands. I slowly closed my eyes. Uni's small body was faintly warm. When I opened my mouth at SPHIA, the Uni there just ran away instead. The lingering warmth I felt in my body was incredibly lonely, but now Uni's body temperature was giving me energy. As long as this warmth is here, I won't be alone. I have comrades that can help me. If everyone joins their strength together, we'll survive for sure. Time passed and before long, night arrived. Isn't that going to make the cold even worse? In the corner of the cabin, Yomogi was trying to communicate with the satellite phone again. However, the results have been no good as always. I guess the phone's useless, Yomogi muttered. Everyone felt the same. The night continued on. The darkness of the night deepened quickly and little by little it invited us toward death. Figured that was going to happen. When I came to, I was standing perfectly still in Satoru's room. I transferred again. I checked the time. 10:20 p.m. A delicious smell was coming from beyond the door. Lured by the smell, I left the room. On the table right in front of my eyes was a warm meal. A shining white rice was letting off steam and looked delicious. Right next was a bowl of eggplant miso soup, grilled salmon, a vegetable side dish of spinach. There was a large platter full of diced chicken and vegetables. I became unbearably sad. There was food here. There was just enough food to satisfy the hunger of 3 people. I wanted to bring Yomogi and everyone else here as well. If I could, we wouldn't have to quarrel over food anymore. What's wrong? Huh? You suddenly started crying. From where she sat across from me, Utsumi raised her eyebrows and peered into my face. Yuni and Hattori were sitting at the other end of the dining table. She was right, there were tears running down my cheeks. Has anyone discarded the body that's in the fucking basement? Are they just leaving them there? What the fuck is going on in this place? The two of them stared at me in surprise as I had unexpectedly started crying. Are you really so upset we didn't call you for dinner? No, that's not it. I just had something on my mind. That tone. Uyukawa-san. Yes. I see. In that case, I'm sorry. We started eating without calling you. It's alright. Everyone in the shelter cabin was suffering from their hunger even now. Would it be okay for me to be the only one to eat? We're not meant to eat anyway. He told us not to. So we're not going to eat. I put down my chopsticks. I felt it was unforgivable for only me to accept such delicious food. Thinking of everyone in the shelter cabin, I abstained from eating as well. But it seems you're hungry. Hattori was laughing voicelessly as well. It seems Satoru was considerably hungry. I'm sorry. I apologized in a soft voice. I was hesitating as to whether it would be okay for me to refuse the food. As far as my own feelings went, I wanted to keep my honor with those in the shelter cabin by abstaining from eating. If I did that, Satoru would be the one to suffer. If I didn't eat here, it'd be a problem for if Satoru didn't have the energy to run away from the murderous monster. I pick up the chopsticks with mixed feelings. I'll eat it. While eating, I looked at the other 3 people around the dinner table. Something felt off. Why is it the 4 of us are gathered around a table eating right now? There was a murderer here just the other day. Moreover, the culprit is among these 3 people. It's not the time to be calmly eating here. But even so, why? Did they decide that it'd be safer for everyone to eat together? To prevent any of us from being poisoned, everyone should be seen eating the same thing? That's what I remembered. That's right, Satoru was poisoned. The last time I transferred, his body was in a terrible condition. I looked up at the ceiling. I checked to see whether my vision was blurry or if I'd become dizzy. However, everything was perfectly normal. My body didn't feel dull at all either. Did Satoru deal with it somehow? Then Utsumi spoke in a voice that betrayed worry. I thought you were really wolfing it down, but now your chopsticks aren't even moving. Is something the matter? Are you feeling unwell? No, I'm fine. Panicking, I shook my head. I see. No one has been eating well lately, so we haven't gotten enough nutrition. And besides, Uyukawa-san hasn't eaten anything for the past 3 days. That's true. Just eat what you can, okay? Now that she mentions it, Satoru and I have been refusing food for fear that it was poison. Would it be okay for me to eat now? Actually, I've already eaten some. It was too late. Sorry, Satoru. If you die from this, please forgive me. Please don't let there be any poison in it. Hattori took some of the diced chicken and vegetables from the large platter and put it in Yuni's bowl. Thank you, Hattori. Ah, Yuni. Yuni grabbed it with his chopsticks without showing any hesitation. What? Swallowing down a piece of bamboo shoot, Yuni glanced up at me, startled. No, it's nothing. Hattori served herself from the same platter, then brought the food to her mouth. There wasn't any sign that it was poisoned. Gathering my resolve, I decided to continue with the meal. The food that Utsumi had made was very delicious. The atmosphere at the table was peaceful and happy as well. Yuni ate a lot and talked a lot as well. Utsumi too answered him with a laugh. Hattori was sitting beside Yuni, nodding at their conversation with a smile. It was like the meal we had on the first day. It's almost like the murder that had taken place was just a lie, a bad dream of a world far away. However, there was something different from the meal on the first day as well. Hey Yuni, please pass the soy sauce. When I casually called out to him, Yuni flinched and his body trembled with surprise. He stared at me with eyes full of fear. Yuni? Why are you looking at me like that? Here you go. As if to interrupt my question, Utsumi passed me the soy sauce instead. Sorry. Yuni was oddly afraid of me. Satoru? That was the biggest difference. And there was one more difference. Hattori lightly tapped Yuni on the shoulder. What's wrong, Hattori? Hattori pointed her finger at her own cheek. Is there something about your cheek? Hattori shook her head as if troubled, and then reached out to Yuni's cheek. There was a grain of rice stuck to his cheek. Hattori puts it in her own mouth. Where are you going with your lunch on your face, or something like that? Hattori smiled happily. Geez, we're like newlyweds, huh? Yuni smiled while leaning against her arm, as if teasing her. Hattori, as if reacting to the word newlyweds, looked down at her as her cheeks turned red. You don't need to get so embarrassed, Hattori. Hattori and Yuni were getting along unusually well. I thought as I bring one of the vegetable side dishes dripping with soy sauce into my mouth. Yuni's forehead should be wounded. It wasn't visible right now because his bangs were hiding it, but it was a new wound, and it had unmistakably been inflicted by none other than Hattori. So then why wasn't Yuni on his guard against Hattori? Why is it that rather than being scared of her, he seemed to be getting along with her so well? The meal ended, leaving behind that huge question. Thanks for the food. I put my hands together and mentally apologized while doing so. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being the only one to eat. All the people at the shelter cabin were enduring their hunger right now. Of course, my own body was feeling hunger as well, but the spiritual fulfillment that I was able to gain by eating like this was way more than enough to further my feelings of guilt. After the meal ended, I was the only one sitting at the dining table. Yuni went to the living area as if avoiding me. He sat on the sofa playing with Hattori. I gazed at the two of them from the kitchen, while feeling a strong sense of alienation. Kagame, the bird within the cage. When will you come out? In the evening lit by the dawn, the crane and the turtle slipped and fell. Who's that behind you? Yuni's hands were covering Hattori's eyes. The two of them were singing Kagame by themselves. Hattori was crossing her arms and nodding as if pondering it. After a while, Hattori took the notepad in her hand and wrote, Yuni-kun. Bingo. The correct answer was Kusuda Yuni-kun. Letting out a voice full of joy, Yuni lifted his hands away. Hattori was grinning and laughing as well. If you just saw what they were doing as innocent play, it would have looked like a very enjoyable scene. However, Yuni and Hattori were the only ones there. Just what was fun about that? If you think about it, their play was kind of creepy. The Kagame song. It was a song Yuni had sung to himself many times in the past. On the plane, in the shelter cabin, and in SPHIA. It was the year 2011 in the shelter cabin and the year 2012 in SPHIA. That's what I concluded. Was Yuni like us after all? In that only his consciousness was transferring? No, before that. Before that, there's something even more important I have to think about. The same question from before crosses my mind. Why wasn't Yuni afraid of Hattori? Yuni had unmistakably gotten his forehead cut by Hattori. That was the truth, even if she hadn't done it intentionally. Normally you'd be cautious of a person who did that and try to avoid them. But looking at the two of them, rather than trying to avoid her, you get the impression that they were getting along better than ever before. So why? When I snapped out of my reverie, I saw that Yuni was now sitting beside Utsumi. Cuddling himself close to Utsumi, Yuni began talking to her, like the way a spoilt child behaves with his mother. It was just like you said, Carly, it's much more relaxing when we eat together. And it was really delicious. I'm glad to hear that. The two of them sat on the sofa saying that. What were they talking about, I wonder? It may have been about the same thing I felt during the meal, about the chance of poisoning decreasing when we eat together rather than apart. Yuni was sticking even closer to Utsumi than necessary. Even so, Utsumi pats him gently, while narrowing her kind eyes, and with an affectionate expression, the two look as if they were truly mother and child. Carly, I'm scared, Yuni muttered as he pressed his forehead against Utsumi's arm. It looked like he was trembling slightly. I might be the next one to be killed. I don't want that, I don't want to die. Yuni. As if soothing his trembling, Utsumi embraces Yuni. After brushing her lips against his hair, Utsumi nestles his face into her arms. It's okay. No matter what happens, I'll definitely protect you. Carly? Yuni wraps his arms around Utsumi's back as well and returns her hug. They embrace each other for a while, but Yuni soon separated from her. Worry still showing on his face. I'd be happy if you could protect me. But what if I'm attacked while Carly isn't there? What do I do then? I'm scared. Utsumi looks at Yuni with sad eyes and then... That's right. She reached into her pocket. She took out something wrapped in paper with red lettering. Inside the wrapping was a charm. I'll give you this. A charm? Yes. You see, this charm has a wish inside to protect you from injury. Wearing an expression like the Virgin Mary, Utsumi handed the charm over to Yuni. Yuni placed it in his hand and stared at it with a mysterious look. I began to doubt my eyes. That charm! In the shelter cabin, through our shivering, Yuni and I had prayed to that charm. Why, what's going on? Utsumi speaks gently to Yuni. I'm sure the charm will protect you. Is it okay for me to take this? Of course, you hold on to it. I want you to carry it with you before it's too late. Yuni wore a puzzled expression at first, but eventually gave a small nod. Like something precious, he held the charm into his chest. Thank you, Carly. Utsumi hugged Yuni tightly, one more time. And then she headed into the kitchen to do the dishes. Yuni started heading back to his room. I wanted to talk to him. As I approached him, Yuni suddenly jumped and froze where he stood as a frightened expression appeared on his face. He wouldn't look me in the eyes. He gripped the charm in his hand. What does this mean? I don't really understand what Yuni was thinking. Yuni was hurt by Hattori. He had his forehead cut with a knife. Even so, he wasn't afraid of her at all. However, while Yuni was speaking to Utsumi, it sounded as if he was afraid of someone. Could it be that Satoru did something to Yuni without me knowing? And because of that, Yuni was afraid? I didn't have the energy to think about it anymore. I tried my best to talk to him. Yuni, can I have a moment? What? Yuni held the charm to his heart as if turning a holy cross toward a vampire. Don't be afraid, I'm not going to do anything. It'll only complicate things if you act so scared. Yuni bit his lip and glared at me. Hey Yuni, aren't you afraid of Hattori-chan? Why? Because that wound on your forehead is from Hattori-chan cutting you, right? I thought you might have died, and I was really worried. When I saw Yuni fall down with blood spraying from his forehead, for a moment I thought he was dead. The thought of Yuni dying, even remembering that scene, makes me start to shiver all over. Hey, aren't you afraid of Hattori-chan? Yuni stared at his toes for a moment, finally raised his head with a resolute look on his face. I'm not afraid. We're getting along better than before. Why'd you start getting along? Once in a while, Hattori acts kind of strange, and then there are times when she makes a scary face, but she would never kill someone. Wouldn't kill someone? Hattori is a thankfully rare murderous monster, the one who slaughtered 12 people in Ibushi Kaiko. Yuni probably doesn't know about that. If Yuni gets too close to Hattori without knowing that, he might be in danger. Confused over what to do, I tried to tell him indirectly. Think about it carefully. Hattori-chan was standing in the same room as a dead man holding a knife. Hattori-chan's personality may be gentle, but there might be a dangerous part of her, you know? Yuni starts to violently shake his head at my words. That isn't true. Hattori didn't kill that man. How can you be so sure of that? Because I saw it. What? Yuni lowers his voice. I saw that man get killed. Did you see the culprit? Yuni nodded slightly. Still grasping the charm, he squeezed it even more tightly. Who was it that killed that man? Tell me. As I drew closer, Yuni shrank from me. His face was warped in fear. What's wrong? I won't understand it if you just go silent. Tell me. Yuni stood frozen. Fear and sorrow mingled on his face. Hey, what's wrong? After a long, long silence, from one small hand he extends his index finger and pointed it straight at me. Huh? In a tone as if declaring a death sentence, Yuni said it. You killed him. Oh, cool, we're outside again. All of a sudden, the snow was beating against my face with amazing force. It was so much I could barely scream. I was forced into a crouch. There was a terrible ringing in my ears. It was horribly painful. I couldn't hear very well. I heard faint screams through the high-pitched ringing in my ears. I looked at my surroundings, but I could only see the darkness of the night stretching in every direction. From within that darkness, snow came to assault me again and again. The darkness and the snow hindered my vision, and I could barely even make out what was a few meters ahead of me. Even so, I was somehow able to perceive the faint beam of a flashlight. There I was, able to confirm the outlines of Yomogi, Mayuzumi, and Yuni. The three of them were covered in thick clothes to protect them from the cold, covering their ears and writhing in agony. Hurry star means my ears something... Oh, fuck, I don't know. Unable to hear anything due to the ringing in my ears and the roaring of the storm, I couldn't make out anything they said. I headed for the three of them. Hey, how did this happen? None of them had even noticed my voice. Everyone seemed to have their hands full dealing with themselves. Why am I... No, all of us. Why are we outside? Going out for a walk in the middle of a blizzard like this was an act of suicide. Yomogi should know better than anyone. I clung to Yomogi. Yomogi-san. Yomogi finally noticed me. Because of the darkness, I was unable to see the expression on his face. What's going on right now? Yomogi violently shook his head. This is the first time that the weather's changed so rapidly. The things we were saying didn't line up. No, not that. Even so, we can't give up on the helicopter. Helicopter? What do you mean by helicopter? I'm going on ahead. Yomogi shook off my hand and began walking. Wait, I'm going too, so wait up. As if using up the last of his strength, the already weakened Mayuzumi began to stagger forward unsteadily, trying to follow Yomogi. Yuni silently followed after them. Please wait. I tried once more to pull Yomogi back. It'd be suicide to continue like this. Let's go back. I know that it's dangerous, but if we let this go, we might not be able to go back for all eternity. This is our last chance. Chance? What's he saying? I don't know what happened, but it seems like Yomogi has completely lost it. I couldn't just let him continue on like this. It's no good, let's go back. If we don't, everyone's gonna die. If you want to go back by yourself. From the side, Mayuzumi pushed me away. I stumbled and landed on my rear in the snow. What are you doing? It's not the time for your useless, pretty words. That's right. If you want to go back, no matter what, then we're going to leave you behind. I couldn't believe it. Even Yomogi had agreed with Mayuzumi's reckless view. Just what has happened? Yomogi turned his back on me and continued advancing in the darkness. At this rate, I'll be left behind. Even so, I chose to turn back to the cabin. I didn't want to die. Yomogi and Mayuzumi had lost their ability to reason. I couldn't stop them anymore with my strength alone. That said, it would be suicidal to follow them. I kept standing still and saw Yomogi and the rest off as their backs receded from view. Their figures disappeared into the darkness and I was left alone in a dark world. Even though I said I'd return to the cabin, I didn't even know the place I was standing in right now. Where was the cabin? In the end, I started to walk in the direction opposite where Yomogi and the rest had disappeared to. Rather than getting better, my hazy consciousness grew steadily worse. Not even conscious of where I was or what I was doing, it felt like I was about to forget both entirely. I was terribly sleepy. It was quite paradoxical being sleepy even though it was so cold. I'll die if I go to sleep. It was a pattern you often see in dramas. But I want to sleep. Thoughts of the sweet temptation of sleep ran through my head. How happy I'd be if I could sleep right here. If it meant I could sleep, I wouldn't care if I died. Even things like that crossed my mind, and then all of a sudden I was pulled back to reality. Huh? Why was I walking in a place like this? I slowly took in my surroundings. My entire field of vision was pitch black. I couldn't even see my own hands when I brought them in front of my face. Where is this? I could hear myself breathing loudly. A place where not a single source of light exists, darkness in its principal form. It was the first time I'd been thrown into a world this dark. Thinking of the darkness that spreads into the unknown, I shivered. That was the feeling of the fear carved into my human instincts. That forced me to realize it. Without light, humans wouldn't be able to live. It felt like I was the only one to exist in this world. The feeling of isolation increased my anxiety terribly. Hey! Unable to contain myself, I shout. However, my voice was easily erased by the snowstorm. It diffused into the darkness. Anybody! I shout at the top of my lungs. Even though I knew there shouldn't be any way a reply would come, I couldn't help but shout. Where did you go? Satoru! I noticed when I said that. No, Satoru shouldn't be here. Who was I with again? I was barely able to recall Yomogi, Yuni, and Mayuzumi. It's strange. There's no way I could forget. What was happening to me? Yomogi-san. My speech was slurred. I repeated Yomogi's name over and over, and feeling miserable from not being able to speak clearly, tears began to fall. The snow mingled with the wind violently blew the drops off my face, and the trails they left on my cheek froze immediately. I rubbed my eyes, as I thought there was no one there. No one answered me. I was alone. Disaster. The world floated in my mind, and I fell into a panic. My own thinking was too naive. The word reckless wasn't strong enough to describe moving alone in this snowstorm. I could hear my own breathing quickly become ragged. I looked at my surroundings over and over again. I somehow had to meet up with Yomogi and the rest. Even if their actions were suicidal, it was better than being here alone. Where? Where are you? There was nothing. There was no one. There was only me left in this world. I don't want to be alone. I can't stand the solitude. Hopelessness shoots through my chest. My vitality was withering away. I crouched down and held my head in my hands. I was completely helpless before the powerful menace of nature. The image of dark death eroded my consciousness. I'll die. I don't want to die. It'd be better if I died. I want to live. It hurts. Help me. Anybody. Stand. Don't stand. Inside my head, my will to live and my jumbled fears of death were yelling back and forth at each other. Even so, I was unbearably sleepy. It'd be okay if I slept, I thought. And with just that, I became extremely calm. If I wasn't going to be saved anyway, it might be better just to die peacefully. My reason screamed out, "Don't give up! Stand up! You're still alive!" I shouted. By shouting, I was able to raise my own spirit. I frantically stood up. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. There was only thought in my head. What should I do? Oh God. Whatever it is, it's going to go badly. That much is obvious. We got to keep moving. I have to keep moving. I'd heard moving aimlessly inside a snowstorm was nothing short of suicide. But even so, I needed to keep moving. Nothing will happen if I just wait. I turned back around once more. In any case, I should return to the point where I separated from Yomogi and the others. The probability of meeting up with them again is astronomically low though. But I had to believe. If I don't believe, only death awaits. I continued walking against a raging snowstorm. My strength was being snatched away. I couldn't see anything. I didn't even know where I was walking anymore. You can say my steps were advancing through inertia alone. My foot got stuck in the deep snow and I fell down into it face first. Get up! Get up, uyukawa Kokoro. However, even when I tried to put strength into my body, it was as if it wouldn't do what I told it to. Drowsiness overcame me. It'd be so much easier if I slept. A sweet voice of temptation whispered into my ear. That's right, no matter how much I walk, I wouldn't be saved anyway. No one will save me. Yomogi and Mayuzumi and Yuni too, none of them will come to save me. I didn't want to suffer anymore. I closed my eyes. All the sounds of the world outside were shut out. Inside of all that, I heard only the sound of my own breathing. It was an extremely gentle feeling. And finally, the figures of the people close to me began to appear inside the darkness. Dad, Mum, Grandpa, Grandma. All my friends from university and even my high school friends were there. They were all smiling and calling me over. Light emanated from a place where they stood. It looked like a really warm place. I reached out my hand to them, and then I was enveloped by light. It was light coming from the sky. A shower of light was raining down from the sky, like fireflies, small illusory lights. How beautiful this world is, and how warm. I fell asleep, engulfed in a shower of gentle light. Surrounded by blessings, I fell asleep. Are we dead? Yes, we're dead. Well, that was a bad choice, but that's okay, because we're out of time for this episode. So in the next one, we'll jump back in where I made that choice and pick the choice to just stay there, I guess. I don't see how that's going to work out any better for us, but I guess... I mean, it has to. It's any other option we got. Anyway, thanks for watching, Bruce, and I'll see you in the next one.